Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Happy New Year's, folks. Again, I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, Oregon Voters Digest. Again, Happy New Year's. 2019 is going to be awesome. 2020 is going to be even awesome. Right up front with you, we got a 2-year run, if you will. We're going to be right into politics big time for the next 2 years. But we're not going to be doing politics today. As you know, we've got Dr. Martin Luther King Day coming up, and there's going to be all sorts of festivities, if you will. And every year, the Oregon Voters Digest always bring you sort of a champions of recognition as we feel the folks out there, the viewing artists, need to know about some of this history. And this is to inform you and educate you. And what we're going to be doing today is that we're going to be celebrating, if you will, black veterans from Oregon. And I'm talking about folks that you're familiar, you'll see some familiar faces here, and they'll probably give some little short accounts of their stories about their time in service and the various branches. I've been in the Marine Corps, and as you know, I've been out here now, and we're still reaching out to vets, and these folks are going to be duplicates of me, and just like myself, they're also going to be out there reaching out to vets. They always do this, but you don't know them sometimes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the champions for the Oregon Voters Digest this year for the Dr. King's Day, in all due respect, are black veterans who participated in Uncle Sam's military, if you will. And I think it's going to be very interesting, and you're going to like it. So hey, get your recorders ready, get the folks around the table, get your tea, get your coffee, and have some fun. And tell your friends about Oregon Voters Digest. The show will be repeated. You'll see it again on the monitor. It'll be repeated again. This is Sunday from 4 to 5, and then Tuesday on channel 2023. It will be on at noon on channel 11, and on Fridays on channel 22, channel 22 on Comcast at 8 p.m., Oregon Voters Digest. And then on the other one, you can get it 24/7 on YouTube. All you have to do is Google it on your smartphone, Oregon Voters Digest, and you'll see this directory, and there it is, sitting right there. So with any further ado, I want to get you these guys right off the bat. And you know these faces right up front with it. We got Harry Jackson here. Here's Harry. You've seen that face before. Hi, what was that when you stopped him? Yeah. Harry Jackson, he's retired since from Portland Police. He was in the Air Force. Yeah. He was in the Air Force. He'll give you a little bit more detail about that piece aspect of it. In fact, he was on not too long ago. We talked about when he was profiled in the Portland Tribune on Veterans Day. Mm-hmm. He was profiled, and boy, a lot of folks didn't know that even existed in his resume. But we got him on, and we're going to keep him on because he's got a lot of stories to tell. But today we're honoring him, i.e., as a champion from the Oregon Voters Digest on Dr. King's Day. Okay, good. And then right after him, you know this guy. You know this guy. Politio. The bottom line, the way he eats is his real estate. He's done all kinds of things in the real estate market. If anything, he opened the door into the Northeast Portland corridor, i.e., supposedly the slum area, and where the blacks are living. And in all due respect, had it not been for Fred, many of those folks who were living in that area, who were black folks who were basically renting in many ways, all of a sudden, through Fred, he got them to own their home. And I tell you what, they're thankful today because those properties all went up. Mm-hmm. But a lot of other folks benefited. But the bottom line is that if you're looking at developing Northeast Portland and what that property is all about, besides the rest of Portland and the rest of Oregon, he's a realtor and developer type kind of a guy. But he's here today. But he's also a former Marine, and you've seen him on the show.
Former.
What's right? He once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah.
But see, I just want to make sure he knew where he was. Okay, good. But anyway, welcome, boys, man. Yeah. Okay, good. And then we got Big Bob. You've seen Big Bob here before. He tried to hobnob the whole deal. It's typical Democrat, if you will, always trying to take over the whole deal. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Bob has been on the show many times over, as you know. He's been a co-host, and he and I have been together for years. I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years.
25,
about
30.
25 years or 30 on Oregon Voters Digest. We've done a lot of things, and he's got a lot of history to tell. But a lot of folks didn't know about the fact that he was in the Air Force. And then I went out and bought him a cover, and he's got that cover right now. He hasn't paid me yet, but anyway, Bob is Air Force, and he's got a lot of things to tell, and he's been very, very much involved in community. And he's got a lot of things to tell about this long. Again, that's why this background and whatever. And then we're gonna also talk about other folks that are there, and I'll ask them if they've got any other names. And in fact, I was thinking about Harry's brother, Bill, who's a Marine. He was a Marine aspect of it, and then we went down to the Marine Corps birthday the other day, and that was kind of neat. He had a whole bunch of Marines around the table. Harry was there anyway. You guys would have been there. Next year, we're going to do our own table.
That sounds
We're going to get our own thing next year around, okay? But anyway, with that, we were just going to go around the table and ask these guys to just give a little quickie, and we're going to get Fred first, so that way he's short real quick, because the other guys will need him. And you'll tell him about his background and how he got in the Marine Corps and this, that, and the other. Go on, Fred. How'd you get in the Marine Corps?
I walked in back when the Marine Corps recruiting office here in Portland was catty corner to the courthouse.
Okay.
I walked into the Marine recruiting office and was immediately greeted.
What year was that?
That was March. That was the second week of March, 1983.
In 83?
1983.
When did I get out? You sure you didn't see me? That was the old Pioneer Post Office?
No, downtown, the courthouse, where the courthouse is now.
Where the courthouse?
It's a coffee shop there now.
Okay, all right.
It's a coffee shop there now, but I walked in, Sergeant White walked up to me and said,
Sergeant White,
what can I do for you? And I said, I want to join the Marines. And he says, are you sure you want to join the Marines? He says, why do you want to join the Marines? And I said, because I want to go overseas and murder anybody who's against the United States of America.
That's him.
Yeah.
You can tell right off the bat. Now you know why he's so active.
Oh.
Why he's so enthusiastic.
I was so excited to join. I was sitting there asking him things like, how many grenades do they give you? And if you kill like a lot of people, do you have to bury them? I mean, I was asking all the perfect questions that young Marines like to hear when they're in recruiting duty. And of course he said yes to everything. He says, we give you as many grenades as you want.
Oh, yes.
And no, we don't require you to, you can't leave your Marines behind.
Yes.
Because we're going to give them a proper burial. But the enemies, you can just leave them right there.
Now, you see, folks, I was a recruiter when I came here, and I recruited at the old Pioneer Post Office. It's the courthouse today. And I was the only guy that was sitting in there in the Marine Corps as a recruiter. And they used to call me the buzzard, because all I would do is be right behind right in the front of my door. It was a one-person station, and they had the Army, they had the Navy, they had the Air Force, the whole 9 yards. And when I see these folks walking in, I just swoop on them. But I would have swooped on Fred. He'd been out the same day.
No,
I wouldn't even give him.
No, I told him.
I wouldn't have given him an M16. I would have given him a switch.
I told him I wanted to graduate high school, and they said, fine, you don't have to come in. So I got to stay. I didn't have to go to boot camp till August, but I went through, all the testing and everything. Went through with flying colors. Passed my, physical and stuff like
Went
that.
Went to AFES and that.
I went through everything. Okay, I mean, I wanted to hurry up and get this over because I hadn't told my mother or father.
Okay. How long did you spend in the Corps?
6 years.
6 years?
4 years active, 2 years, 2 years inactive.
Cool.
Yeah.
And now what are you doing now today, Jeff, Fred?
Real estate.
He's the main guy. He's real estate, big time. Done a lot of things in real estate. Okay. Yeah. Good. Still is doing.
Still doing it. I got into real estate just after I got out of
the Corps.
Out of the Corps. When I look at my old photos, I still had that Marine Corps look.
Oh, was that?
And I still had that Marine Corps look. I was still standing up super straight. That was bad.
You're looking like an old force sergeant anyway.
I remember the first house I had to show. I go into this vacant house with some clients, and end up getting in an argument with these drug dealers over there on Rodney Street. Remember that vacant house over there? And I remember saying to myself, I got to bring a gun next time. But then I said, no, I can't bring a gun. That doesn't look good. So I brought my knife. The old K-bar. And then, because the first 3 or 4 months I was showing houses, I had a Marine Corps K-bar with me because be going in these houses. Remember back in those days, all these drug houses and stuff. You never knew what you're gonna go into.
That's right.
And
Fred, you didn't need no K-bar anyway.
No, I like having the K bar because I like having overwhelming.
It make it feel good.
It made me feel
Made
good.
me feel safe.
Made me feel. No, I mean you go in these houses in the inner Northeast that have been vacant like 20, 30 years, and the gang members and the drug dealers would take them over, and then you'd walk in and they'd say you better leave if you're lucky if they didn't hit you over the head with something.
But you wouldn't leave. They knew you.
No, I never left.
Okay.
No,
Look,
I never left.
Well, okay,
No retreating.
I'm giving you enough time at this point in time. Why don't we get to Bob? Bob, what do you think? When did you get in?
I went in 1966.
Here in Portland?
Chicago.
In Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder.
I was still in diapers.
Well, some of us have to be young.
Let him talk. Let him talk. So tell us about it. Okay.
Well, I went to in '65. I graduated high school, went to college. I thought I was going to go to DePaul and play basketball.
Okay.
And found out that my grades, they were below ground.
I understand. Okay. The A's were C's or B's.
Well,
I understand.
And
That
so
happens down south.
they told me about school in Colorado, Trinidad State Junior College, and I went out there, and I played. I got upset with the coach because I consider myself, I was, based on statistics, the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he put two other guys in for all conference and all everything.
And didn't give you no treat.
And, well, I found out later why not. Because when you're in junior college, the objective of junior college is to get you ready for a 4-year school. And so you spend 2 years in junior college and you move on back then. And so he was helping the sophomores get a scholarship somewhere, and he had to give them the accolades.
Okay.
So
Are you sure it's not because you were flirting with his daughter?
I never met his daughter. Well, his kids was young. But anyway, I left there, came back home. 4 of my friends were talking about Vietnam, and they were getting drafted.
Yes.
And I didn't know that I was a 2S deferred, so I didn't have to worry about getting drafted.
Now, why were you
I went
Fred,
I was in college.
Fred. Oh, cool, man. Cool.
Because I was in school.
Okay.
And so I went down
Keep going.
to the, I said, well, I ain't going to get drafted in the Army. So I went down to the Air Force, and they instantly said yes.
Yeah, get ready.
And then they worked on getting my 2S changed.
Okay.
And it took about 3 months. And that was the summer. And then they called and told me I was okay to go. And so I told my parents, and my mother was like, well, it was 2 weeks after I was supposed to go back to college, and I hadn't left.
Okay.
And she was like, you know how parents were back then.
Oh yeah, big time.
No
way.
Boy, you can't stay here.
Yeah.
You got to get a job. And I said, Mom, I'm going in the Air Force. And she was like, yeah, all right. So 6 o'clock one morning, I asked her if she would take me over on the west side to the recruiting station. She did. And all I had was they told me to bring a change of underwear and a toothbrush.
That was it.
That was it. And so that's what I had in a little plastic bag.
Wow.
And she was looking at me like, why don't you stop playing? You're not going anywhere. And my sister, I can remember it clear as day. She said, Mom, he's going. And my mother started crying.
Oh,
And I walked in the door.
Wow. What about boot camp? How'd you graduate? What was your MOS?
I graduated as a firefighter.
Firefighter?
MOS. God, I can't remember the numbers right now.
But I got you.
I left there as a firefighter. And this is the strange part about the Air Force. When you come out, you end up going, if you don't have your assignment right away, you go into, I called it a holding camp, but they have a name for it, where you go into there and you wait until it's time for you to go. Well, my time was after I was in during Christmas, so my time was after New Year. They send me home, so I got 2 weeks of leave before I earned anything.
Oh, wow.
And so I went home. I got this phone call that go to New York. Went to Stewart Air Force Base in New York. I get there, they don't even know I'm coming. I got no bed, no nothing. Wow. But fortunately, a friend of mine that went to high school with me, he was there. He worked nights I slept in his bed at night, and he came in and he took over during the daytime.
So that was quite
Yeah.
a
So
deal.
I played basketball.
Did you go to special services? Did they, after they knew about the fact that you were playing ball at one time, did they put you in play some ball in the
I
service?
played ball in. That's all. I played ball in the service.
There you go. Yep. They grabbed you quick.
Yeah, we went to Worldwide.
There you go.
They have 14 commands in the Air
Okay.
Force, and I played for 3 years.
Okay. Cool.
That.
Cool. All right. Good. All right. Harry.
Yep.
How about Harry?
Yeah, me.
When I met him down in frog mode. We always have a thing about that frog mode.
Yeah,
right?
frog mode,
Okay,
yeah,
go on.
yeah.
Harry, what about yourself?
Well, I joined the Air Force in 1964, January 2nd.
Here in Portland?
1964.
Man,
Yeah.
I wasn't
okay.
even conceived yet.
And what I did was I left Portland State over the Christmas vacation. Went down, saw the recruiter, and he put me on right away. Took the test, and what I wanted to do was go to the Marines. But my test revealed that I had mechanical skills that I developed over at Benson High School.
Right.
So they told me I was going to the Air Force. So I go to the Air Force and come out as a jet over tube engine mechanic. And the group that I was with had just returned from a rotation, a permanent station in Évreux Air Force Base in France.
Okay.
He just come back. And so I was assigned to crew chief, and he was getting back and spending time with his family because he'd been gone for a long time. And so I just kind of babysit the plane that I was assigned to. And I put in a lot of time out there. The rest of the guys were going down to the station downtown and having a good time,
Yes.
partying and everything.
Right.
And I spent my time on the flight line all night
Okay,
long,
okay.
babysitting the plane.
Okay.
Well, I developed a relationship with E9.
Okay.
You know, he had stripes
Yes,
here
sir.
all the way
Oh, yeah,
down
big
here.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he liked me a little bit. So he remembered the time that I put in out there instead of going downtown partying. And he got me my first stripe real early. And it just kind of went that way. And so I, after getting my stripe, I told him that I would like to go to France. And so there was one guy in the office that was making the assignment. So I gave him $2 to send me to France. And next thing y'all know, I'm arriving in France, one of the youngest guys to go over there.
wow.
Were you
doing a
there
rotation.
in '66 when the Gaulle kicked us out?
Yeah, no, I was still there.
You were still there?
Yeah, on the at the base, Évreux Air Force Base.
Guess what? I was too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You in Évreux?
Yeah, my dad with the Army was right next to it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there too. My dad, who died, last year, he hated France after that. There was never anything good about France because we were there when they kicked us out.
Well, they were talking about us leaving and taking the light bulbs and everything when we left.
My dad didn't take them; he broke them.
Okay. All right.
But so Paris was one of the highlights of going there.
Oh, okay.
So I went downtown with some people who had been there originally and rotated out. Then they rotated back.
Ah, okay.
So they knew some people that were there.
Wow.
And so we went downtown, and I still remember they were going downtown passing a bottle of cognac. And I had I before I went in the military, I never had a drink, a beer or anything.
Okay.
They give me that cognac, and I turned it up like they were doing.
Well, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, started having a little fire here. Started breathing hard.
Now, one time we were talking, you actually went in Vietnam. You're flying what, the KC-130s?
We were on 130s, but I never touched down. We went. We went.
Never
But
touched
we
down?
never touched down.
But didn't you
no.
drop stuff off of it?
We dropped stuff off.
Well,
Yeah,
well, you
that
touched
was
down.
that was our deal. We dropped troops and heavy equipment.
Yeah, you were there.
We were dropping about 74 people at that 130 would haul. We'd drop them out, and being that I was a flight mechanic and load master,
Okay. you
I'm
were
the
low
one
now.
that opened the door and wait till the light turned. And
Yeah, right.
Get out, get out, get out. And so I had a good time doing that. On my birthday, some of the what do you call them? From Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Screaming Eagles.
Yeah.
101st.
They told me,
That's my
it
dad.
says, it's your birthday, you need to celebrate. Why don't you get that chute and come on out and jump with us?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't have any experience, but the shooter took care of me. And they were talking to me, so the pilot heard about that. He come down and says, if you touch down, you jump out of here, and you're going to get court-martialed. Well, that kind of ended that.
I heard that.
But, we flew all over Europe, and when we come back, we flew all over the States here.
Yes, yes.
So I would come up, and they'd drop me off out at the Portland airport. They'd go on up to McCord and drop troops for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I was at home having a vacation while they up there. They'd come back and radio and pull up into the middle of the runway out there. Airport police would take me out there, get on the plane, and go back to Tennessee.
Wow.
So,
well, tell me this, what about the other things? It's in Portland. What were you doing now? You spent time in the police department. How many years?
34 years as a police
34
officer.
years.
34 years. I was on 4 different departments, though.
Wow.
I was state trooper in Klamath Falls. I was in on the biggest shooting in Oregon history for a while. That happened in Klamath Falls.
Really?
Yeah. DeWitt Henry shot up 6 people on South 6th Avenue at Uncle Albert's. He killed a pregnant lady too, so he got charged with 2 counts. But that was an experience, man. I'm telling you, looking at, I had been in the military, but that was something else. Looking at that.
Okay.
And so then I come back to the airport police, and I spent 4 years there, and then I went with Portland Police for 26 and a half years, and then I went with OHSU Police.
Wow.
And then I was a bodyguard for 2 of the mayors and also security at the courthouse.
Wow. You had a sister in the police department.
Yeah, Marcy Jackson.
She's since retired?
Retired from the Portland Police. She's at Portland State right now.
In Portland State.
They have a police department.
And she's leading that charge, right?
Well, she's helping with it down there. They're trying to get some more people down to help them out. They had that shooting down there recently.
Good. Then your son
Yeah, my son works right here at
Portland Police.
Northeast Precinct.
Really?
Yeah, he's working for some of the people that used to work for me.
Wow.
So he's got a lot of people up there, and
Harry,
we gonna
when we
be
named that
doing
corner after you. I remember your son being there.
He was a little
when we
boy.
dedicated. He was still a little boy.
Yeah.
When we dedicated the corner of Alberta and MLK to you.
Wait a minute, before I forget, Bob, what about you now today? What are you doing? I know you got in real estate big time.
Right. Well, I was doing I was a loan officer for a while.
A very good one, I must add.
I got out. I left that, and right now I'm just working with youth, both in basketball and golf.
Okay.
Along with ladies, trying to get what we as black people are not told is how to go to college free.
Yes.
With our experiences and our knowledge and our abilities. It's amazing how many young kids have the ability to play golf once they're taught the proper way. And it's so many scholarships out there. Schools looking for let me change that, Black Americans.
That's right. That's right.
To play golf. And I'm just trying to do my part to help, working with PIL, Portland Interscholastic League, doing basketball.
Well, as you know, we're going to do
grade.
more of that. Now for 2019 for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to do more than that, and that's one of the reasons why I've got you guys on. But at the same time, we have many notable black Americans, former military, that are here within our midst. In fact, let's just start going around the room trying to remember those guys.
Right.
I'll just start off with what about Judge Haggerty?
Yep.
Judge Haggerty. He was probably one of the most decorated. Yeah, decorated in the state of Oregon.
Silver Star.
In fact, he still may be one of the listed accordingly. But he
I see
did
him
that
about
piece.
once a month,
you do?
maybe twice.
Yeah.
Playing golf.
No, having we play cards together.
Right.
Over at Lloyd Neal.
Okay.
Ex-Trailblazer.
Right. I might add also too is that when I came to Portland, that's the first person I met.
Yeah.
He was a recruiter. He was a Marine recruiter, and that's how I met. I was a recruiter at that particular time, but he went to school, and all of a sudden there he was sitting on the bench, and as you know, he held that. Let's see, he was the judge on that Syrah. Right, from Southeast Portland.
I was bodyguard in that room.
One of a kind.
Yep.
See, one of a kind.
I went to that trial as much as I could. It was hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
got you. Really, it was a tough deal.
Jerry Murray.
Jerry Murray.
He's
Murray.
2 Silver Stars.
That's right.
We buried him last year.
He was a Marine.
He was a Marine, and we didn't pay that much attention to him. We as military people should have paid more attention to
Yes,
him.
yes.
It was kind of sad
How he passed away.
how he passed
Oh,
away
yes, that's right.
basically by himself.
No benefits.
And so we gave him a good funeral. Of course, now he graduated from Jefferson along with Haggerty, and so he ended up with 2 Silver Stars.
Was he a Marine?
Yeah.
And then you've got let's see,
Bob Boyer.
Yeah,
and,
Bob Boyer. You got
Oh,
Bob
I didn't know
Boyer.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Bob was Marine?
Is Bob still alive?
No, he wasn't.
No, he was
Marine.
Air Force.
He was Air Force.
Is Air Force?
Is Bob still alive?
Yeah, Bob's
Yeah.
still around. Yeah, he's
And
still
they
around.
have a matter of fact, I saw him a few weeks
Well,
ago.
Senator. So he always liked to be referred to as
Senator.
Senator.
Yeah.
Senator Barber.
Yeah.
Barber.
I thought he was dead.
And he, he's with they have a group that meet. I can't tell you what day and time, but they meet on a regular basis, have lunch, have breakfast together.
Yeah,
And-
NABFAD. That's the
that
National
name?
Black Veterans Association.
Right.
Yeah, they meet.
Matter of fact, I think I have one of the cards of one of the
Yeah,
lieutenants.
Shirley Minor thinks probably.
Shirley
I
Minor's
don't know
a
whether or not she
part
was
of it,
military.
Shirley Minor?
She was in the military? Doing what? Was she a Marine?
I can't tell.
No.
Because
I
she
didn't
acts
know
like
Shirley
one.
was in the military.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
those are all vets. Yeah, those vets. Well, then that's
Man, I
another.
bet Shirley was a
let's say
Marine.
there's another guy that we all recognize. And people, Charles Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah, a former city councilman, Charles Jordan. They recognize him down in North Portland now at one of the parks.
Yep.
Or something like that. He should have been down at Pioneer Square because he put that together. He should have been a monument.
Should have been
at
that.
time.
We should also
Yeah.
name that Tillicum Bridge. That bridge, that walking bridge. They should have named it after Charles Jordan because on city council history, the first person on city council to adopt this whole thing about riding bikes and
Yeah.
pedestrian stuff was our first black city commissioner. Everybody else came afterwards, but when it was first presented, he was the only one that was like driving for it, and it's always offended me. They named it after Tillicum,
Yep.
and they could have named that Charles Jordan Bridge. Just
Well, I was on the board when that happened, and one of the things is that people brought names forward. And unfortunately, Charles's name didn't come.
I put it in there.
We didn't.
I put it in there.
Then they put that's one of the reasons why we wanted to
Yeah.
recognize black veterans here locally that we all knew. Well, Bill Jenkins was another guy. He was a full bird colonel in the Marine Corps. Yeah, Bill Jenkins, very active in the community. Full bird colonel.
I'm trying to think who he is.
Oh, big
Did he
time.
own Jenkins Auto?
No. Bill actually worked for Bonneville Power or something like that.
okay.
Yeah, that's where he was, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay.
He had Bill Jenkins. Let's see.
No,
what-
Mr. Jenkins that ran the auto. No, he never was in the military.
Oh, okay.
No, he was never in the military.
I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, no, he was never.
He was a good guy.
He was a good guy, but he was never in the
any other-
military.
any other recognizable names here locally, guys? That you guys would know?
Man, I'm trying to think.
Bob?
Was Bogle?
No.
Dick
Bogle,
Bogle?
no. Bogle, no.
No,
Never
he was-
did
no.
go
No,
in the
Dick Bogle
military.
was-
Do you know Linnell Brown?
Linnell,
He passed last
Linnell.
year.
Yeah, he was. I think he was a light colonel. Linnell. In
yeah,
fact, he
he
was
was.
president of this National
Exactly.
Black Veterans Association.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just passed away not too long ago, and in fact, he put the Office for Benefits together. It's the only one of his kind up in the federal building right now. But yeah, he was very, very active in terms of making sure that these guys were getting their benefits.
And that's one of the things that we have a tendency not to do is bring forward the names, and remember
Yes.
the ones that got us here.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that paved the way, I like to say.
Yes.
We like to think we did it on our own,
Yes.
kind of like a Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
I pulled myself up by my own
Right,
bootstraps.
right.
Well, no, you didn't.
Right.
Someone else had to pave the way.
Yes.
And they took the beating.
Yes.
We're receiving the benefit.
Right,
You know, and I know when I was in the Air Force, only because I could play basketball,
Right.
I was respected by a lot of colonels and
Oh, yeah.
lieutenants.
Special forces.
When I got orders to go to Vietnam, the colonel that was in charge of our basketball team told me, "Don't worry, you ain't going
You're not
nowhere."
going- That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
And,
Keeping those troops happy.
yeah, and I didn't, and so I was looking. I knew I was going. I didn't go.
Do you
and
ever
then
feel like
when
you
I
missed out on anything?
no,
I mean, you didn't get to kill anybody.
I wasn't interested in killing anyone. That's why I joined the Air Force.
Right, right,
You know,
okay, okay.
and so it was. I'm sorry, I saw enough killing when I was growing up in Chicago.
Okay.
You know, you walk down the alley, you find a dead body. You know, you hear bang bang, you know somebody got shot. We didn't run to the noise, we ran away from it. You know, today our kids run to it to see what's going on. You know, they're not afraid of death. We were afraid of death, and so it's just amazing how we continue not to include.
I agree.
We
I
exclude
agree.
those that have brought us here.
I agree.
We don't give acknowledgement to find out about. You know, I'm a history major in college, and one of the things that I noticed is that Indians, they didn't have pencil and paper, but they put it on the cave walls. You know, they wrote the story, and so their kids grew up respecting and honoring their elders. When I was in South Africa, man, the kids respect their elders.
Yeah.
You know,
But you gotta remember, some
here-
of those countries, if you disrespect your parents, you ain't got nobody white saying don't spank them.
yeah.
I mean, we got all these white people up here going, "Oh, don't spank your bad child." You know what I mean? But when the child becomes a thug or do nothing,
Right.
then they want to bring in
Put
some
them in jail.
counselors.
No, they want to make money off of him by putting them incarcerated.
Man, there's some white people in this town that are in politics. We don't even talk.
Okay. Well, look, I tell you what, we want to keep this focus here about black veterans.
Let's
Now,
remember the Tuskegee Airmen.
You have to Tuskegee.
Right.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
the one.
And I
well,
bet
Bill-
every one of them got spanked growing
Bill
up
Diaz,
too.
Bill Diaz is
Yeah, Bill
Judge
Diaz.
Judge Diaz's
Brother.
no
husband.
husband
Husband.
was very much involved. In fact, he was responsible for bringing the actual airmen here. But he was in the Air Force too, by the way. And then you've got Joanne Bowman. Not Joanne Bowman, but
Joanne Hardesty.
Joanne Hardesty, the new commissioner.
She's in the Navy.
She's first black,
Yeah,
first
she's a
black
squid.
Portland, if you will, black woman, if you will, as a city commissioner aspect of it, and she's former Navy. She's former Navy, which was very interesting because they did not identify the fact that when she was running for office that she was former Navy. Remember, there was an issue about they'd written articles about the fact that they said that, well, no, she's not. Some people were calling in saying no, she wasn't military, and so consequently the Oregon Voters Digest.
She didn't
got
act
in.
like she was very proud of it. I think because of
Wait
a lot of the
minute,
people that
just
support her.
Listen to what I'm saying. But the bottom line is that the fact of the matter is the media they had the information. So in all due respect, we ran it here. We did a piece and we interviewed her, just like we did with the Loretta.
Right.
But she was Navy. I made sure she brought her DD-214 and she showed it on the deal. And the other thing they were saying that they said that she did not graduate from high school. And she was in Chicago, and so she brought the diploma.
No,
and we got that-
Maryland.
Maryland, whatever. But anyway, but my point is that people were denying the fact that she even graduated from high school, and saying it publicly, and they knew.
How do we get us as black people to find out something before we begin to broadcast it?
Yep.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not the only ones.
Oh, yeah.
But especially
That's
for
not what
us
happened.
against us.
But that's what happened.
You know,
No.
right.
It's the white people in journalism. I mean, they didn't go into the background. I mean, of any of the white people. They didn't look and see if Stuart Edmonds was in the military or nothing. You know, they didn't go checking in on him or nothing. But Joanne, they're going to go check on her. I was so offended what they did to Joanne about the whole thing with not graduating high school, only because I have never heard of the media in Portland going after anybody in Oregon politics white for their education like that.
Yeah, but Fred, they didn't go after her. People were calling them up and saying that she did not graduate.
But hey, hold it.
We don't know who that
Well,
was.
hold on, let me explain something
we
to you.
do.
There's a lot of people who call the journalists every day. If you're in the newspaper, that doesn't mean they write a story about it. If they think something is not worthy of writing, they don't write it. And what I'm trying to say is there are white people who run for office. People call and say stuff about them all the time. Then white guys don't write it. A black person runs for office like Joanne. Somebody says something like that, they're going to write it.
Right.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Just because you call them up doesn't mean they got to write about it.
Who was it that said life isn't fair? Someone made that statement.
I know.
Look,
Life
guys,
isn't
look,
fair.
guys,
I know
want-
life
want-
isn't
no,
fair.
I want to get back, but we won't get into politics.
But hold on,
today.
hold on, hold on.
No, hold on,
Okay,
hold on. For a
all
minute.
right.
We're talking about black veterans today.
Right.
All
And
right.
We're honoring black veterans. Okay.
All right.
For Dr. King's Day.
Yeah.
And so my point, we could spend more time. All of us have stories to tell.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we'll do that on another time. But the bottom line is, I want to make sure we do this for this part of the show aspect of it, and we're going to take a short break, and then we want to kind of talk a little bit more about politics as it relates to as far as veterans again too, black veterans.
Yep.
So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Can we do that, Mike? Okay. Sounds great, buddy.
Are you staying?
No, I'm nothing over here.
I'm gonna let him.
You are watching Oregon Voters Digest. This program can be seen again on these channels on these dates and times. Tell a friend.
Okay. Look like we are back now. Again, Oregon Voters Digest. Again, I'm Bruce Broussard, and got a couple of guys here. We're going to be sitting over here chatting a little bit about, just about a little politics, just kind of bring you up to date in terms of the aftermath of the election that we just had. We did have a veteran. We had a veteran that participated. And her name was Joanne Hardesty. She was a Navy veteran. Again, like I said, we're talking about veterans. But the bottom line, we're going to take this opportunity to talk about that because of the people that were elected. She was the only one who was left standing tall between the city of Portland and the county. And the county. And there's a very interesting piece. So let's talk a little bit about that in terms of now that we've had, let's talk about the election process. Naturally, we had the county also too, but let's talk about the city right off the bat. The fact of the matter is, she is now she's now on city council. She's a black American, and she's a veteran. Okay, good. And so now, what do you think? What do you think about
She just started.
Where are we going to be going now?
Well, I want to address something in the Observer. Did you see that thing on the Observer where they were jumping on her for not having anybody black yet?
Yes.
What did you think of that?
One of the things that we have a tendency to do is talk black but don't act black. And, well, I'm not going to hire anybody black because I don't want the headache. I'm not going to hire anybody black because I don't want, they're going to think that that's the way I am. Well, when a white person hires somebody white, nobody goes around and go, oh, he hired a white person. I think number one, if we're going to talk about getting the best person for the job, we should look in all genres. It should be black, white, Mexican, Asian, whatever. But at some point, there's got to be a black person that is capable of doing the job. And if we don't think that way, why should we expect anyone else to?
Well, I kind of agree with you, but I'll say this. She just got there.
There's no excuse.
No, hold on, let me finish. We've had a horrible track record with black people getting elected. Because we've had black people get elected and have a staff full of black people, and they all sucked. I can't think of one thing Margaret Carter ever did that's helped anybody black in Portland that ain't got her blood in them. I can't think of anything that Avell Gordley's ever done. I can think of some things Lou Frederick has done. Jackie Winters, nice lady, but I can't think. There's nothing you can identify Jackie Winters has ever done that's changed your life. You know what I'm talking about? I can think of what Charles Jordan did. Charles Jordan had an interracial group that was mostly white. Charles Jordan did. Dick Bogle had an interracial office, and they were known to be idiots and lazy. You know what I'm talking about? The black ones were. The black ones were. And then when they got called out on the carpet for it, they sue them. So our track record with black people getting elected, being effective for both of the community and especially the black community, sucks. So I tell everybody, you know what I'm doing with Joanne? I'm going to be patient and trust Joanne's judgment. I just want her to perform. I don't care. I mean, I'd love to see 3 or 4 black people work for it, and I think if she's there long enough, we're going to see some black people in there. I don't think Joanne has walked away from her. She understands where she's come from. But
Where is she coming from, by the way?
Well, she's coming from Portland, Oregon, that a city that has 3.5% of the black population, where the absolute smartest black people in high school leave and never come back. You know what I mean? She's dealing with a very small population. You're one of the few black people that probably could work in an office day one and be good. All the other people like you, they're in New York, in Atlanta, in Houston. They leave Portland. I've been telling people, you know what you do one day? Open up a yearbook and see where all the smart black people go. Well, what I'm trying to say is give Joanne
you made the point.
some time.
You made your point. Okay, now let me throw something out to you. Let's talk about, as Bob, just following up on what is in there. I remember Eric Sten. Mm-hmm. You know, he know nothing. But
I disagree with that.
Will you hold on for a minute?
Okay.
I'm talking about Eric Sten, and Kafori hired him, and she taught him. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, he had some skills, but he didn't have that skill. So my point, the point I'm making is that the impression that I got is that to say that we don't have intelligent folks within this small percentage. There's got to be intelligent.
Oh, but do you know the background of Eric Sten?
Listen to what I'm saying?
But Bruce, you're being unfair.
Well, let him finish.
We don't have a black guy like him in Portland.
Can't you listen for a minute?
All right.
You want people to listen to what you have to say?
All right, Bruce.
Okay, children.
Just hold on for a minute. No, I mean, no.
I don't appreciate
this. This is my show.
I understand,
You
but
will act accordingly.
Okay, Bruce.
If you don't want to be up here, just get off.
I will.
Bottom line.
I'll be fine.
It's ridiculous. Respect the show. We got things to do here. We got work to do. We are together.
Okay.
I know you well enough.
Well, I also know Bruce.
Just be cool.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I make a point. You got an opinion, fine.
Okay.
But that's, you respect everybody that's sitting here.
Okay.
And I'm saying this publicly because I'm not going to have this anymore. That's
Okay,
it.
all right.
Bottom line.
All right.
Okay, good. But anyway, the bottom line is that all I'm just saying, that was the first thing that was said when the photo was there, and it was done in both the black newspapers, the Portland Observer and the Scanner.
Right.
And I'm just saying again, I think about Bernie, who basically has the Scanner, that they should have brought the issue up to begin with. They're in the media because it's about images, and the same thing with the Observer. But my point is, as is, and I would agree. Hey, she's the commissioner now, but she didn't just get there just on the majority population. She got that, the NAACP and her track record and whatever, and she was an outsider. Many of the black leadership, in all due respect, the way things happened, did not support her. You know what I mean? That was kind of like a last minute deal. So there's some history there and whatever. But she is the city commissioner for the city of Portland, and the majority community in many ways just didn't want her. In many ways, you had 2 black women running. They had no choice but to get one or the other, between Loretta Smith and her. But the fact of the matter is, she's city commissioner now. I would agree. I would agree. Give her the shot. She's gonna be there. She's got 4 years to do her thing aspect of it. But from the standpoint of from that, maybe we can build up on that piece. But that's it. I want to make sure we get that point across.
Right.
Give her a shot.
You know, my thing is, white people get elected, and one of the things that they will do is go out and find a black person
Yes.
and put them somewhere in the picture.
And how
But
good?
you just
Wait a
let it
minute.
say what
I
it's
ain't talking
saying.
about how
Let it
well
make us
they,
more.
and they don't give them any power. They don't give them any opportunity to advance in most cases.
Right.
But they are smart enough to put that black face
Yes.
on their staff.
Right.
And so to cancel this conversation, she should have at least one person, even if it's in a minuscule type of situation, there.
In that photo, the first
Otherwise, we can't. I'm one that says if we're not going to do it,
That's
who?
right. Who else? That's right.
And you can make it, and anybody can make any excuse for anyone. But I know that if I move up, I'm trying to find a black person to move up with me. You know, that's how we start the process. You know, we don't start the process by going out getting everybody else.
Yeah.
I remember when Roy J got to deal with the city for the parking lots, and he shared with the Latinos. And then when the Latinos got their deal, and he went to them and they told him, no, this is for us. You know, I remember that. A lot of people out there don't know about it because it was kind of hush hush. The news didn't broadcast it, but that's what I'm talking about. We always want to be inclusive. You go to a Mexican restaurant, you don't find black people.
right.
You find Mexicans.
That's right.
You go to an Asian restaurant, you don't find Mexicans. You find Asians.
That's right.
You know, so darn it, why can't we be proud enough to find black?
That's right. That's a good.
I'm sick of this.
You make a good point, because when I think about, in all due respect, I think about the seat that I just ran for, and as far as the county commissioner seat aspect of it. Now the woman who won, she says, I'm Indian.
Right.
She's not an Indian. She's not a Native American. And a lot of people get a little confusion.
Most people think she's Hispanic.
They do.
They do.
They really
They
do.
don't even think she's Indian. They think she's Hispanic.
But I'm just saying. But again, too, she has all white faces.
Right.
And she says, and she says though, I'm doing Indian. That's it. I'm from India. That's my culture. And like you said, there's a respect aspect of it. Now the thing is, but when Loretta was there, she did have black folks involved in her process on her staff.
Right.
But at the
She
same
was there
time,
at one point.
yes, and then the perception why she had a kids program. She had a kids program trying to identify with some of the folks in the community.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, but there was no transfer of that issue, meaning that Shashila DePaul, well, anyway, the woman that's there now, did not want to continue her program. And so Deborah Kafori picked up that particular program. It's a good program. It's a very diverse program.
Right.
But my point is that seat was worked hard. In fact, McCoy worked very hard to make sure that there was always a black presence.
Sun School and all
That's
of
right. Sun School, the whole 9 yards. And so that's what it was on a continuing basis aspect of it. So you would have thought that there was some sense of respect. This, like you said, this woman is ain't one
She
thing.
has no clue.
She has no clue.
And that's what I don't understand. One of the reasons I'm glad I don't live in Portland. I live in Clackamas.
Right.
I know what to expect in Clackamas.
Yes. Right.
I have not seen a black face on anything
Yes,
in
yes,
Clackamas.
yes.
You know, I haven't ran for anything in
Right,
Clackamas.
right.
You
I represented Clackamas
You should.
on the board of directors of TriMet. You know, and so I had some people there that tell me, say, you should run for county commissioner.
You should.
Well, I didn't want to. I had other things I wanted to do with my time. You know, and so that was one of the reasons. But the other thing is, we as black people don't work at inclusion so that we can build other blacks to move into a position.
Yep.
I'll give you a perfect example. When Avell went out and got the Hispanic guy to run, and then we find out he's not even a Democrat. He's not even registered.
See,
I mean,
you're hitting on my point, but
So we
hold up.
as blacks have got to not only support each other or do things to inclusion, but we also have to go back and find out about the person that we're bringing to you.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
that's all I'm
All right.
saying.
You want to respond?
yeah.
What do you want to
My
respond?
point is this.
What's your point?
Specifically about when you were saying about the token black fellow, there's two things I want to respond to. I'm done with it. We got nowhere with the token black fellow. I want effectiveness. I want people addressing things that are actually going to. I'm looking at performance, and where I'm so fed up with how the Democrats have done black people in Portland, especially Northeast Portland, and how politics is treated. I want effectiveness. I'm tired of show stuff. I'm tired of the Rolodex Negroes. I'm tired of them all. I'm tired of just hiring black people because they're black. I want, if she hires anybody, whether they be black, brown, yellow, whatever, I just want them to be effective. I want them to approach their job with inclusiveness. I want them to be sensitive to the individual issues of the black community, and I'm expecting her to be a leader that makes sure that happens. Because you know what? I've been disappointed. I'm 54 years old, and I've been disappointed by so many black people who are active in politics, and everyone but Lou Frederick and Charles Jordan, who sat in elective office, has found a way to disappoint this guy. Has found a way to do it. And look at where we're at. We've had over 600 black people murdered in our streets in the last 30 years. You saw a lot of them. 600 black people. And Margaret didn't do nothing to stop it. None of these people did anything. Avell didn't do anything to stop it. You know, I mean, I'm just tired of it. And when I saw those articles, I'm like, guys, you're calling her out for this. I understand why you're calling her out for it, but I've never seen them call out anybody else. You understand? I mean, gee whiz, guys, I changed my life to sell houses in inner Northeast Portland because the black people who are so-called the leaders of my community, and you know it, my mother lived right next to you, weren't doing nothing to protect my family. You remember those days? You know, I mean, why do you think I did what I did? And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of one thing I did to protect my family. And you know what? No one of the black leaders that you think of, not one, did anything to protect my mother. You know what I'm talking about? Or my ex-wife, or my sister, or my brother.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
Hey, Joanne, do whatever you want to do. Just make sure you're effective and good.
Well, there's two things that I would say to Joanne, and I don't live in Multnomah County or the city of Portland. And one is learn how to build a coalition.
She knows.
You cannot do it alone. And the people on your that's on that commission with you, they don't understand. You got to do some teaching.
Yeah.
You know, they have the job, but I'll tell you, I listen to white people all the time that talk about how bad blacks are treated, but they don't know what to do.
No, they don't know what to do.
You know, and we don't hold people's feet to the fire that need to be doing something,
You are
whether they're
100%
black
right.
or
Yeah.
white.
Hold up.
Oh,
And
no, I'm
so-
disagreeing with him.
You know, when I was president of the A. Philip Randolph chapter here,
Yeah.
I had shirts made that said, we collect after electing. Every group, white, Hispanic, Asian, they all collect
Yeah.
because you got their vote or you got their money. Black people don't. We sit around and we go, well, what are they going to do for us? You know, walk your butt in that office and tell them what you want. You know, and that's the thing that bothers me. As a Democrat, I was on the, I was down there when there was not one black person in that office.
Right.
And I walked in there with Cal Henry and we said, we can no longer support this with no black people. And they went out and hired black people. All of a sudden there was black people, you know, and and Cal and I looked, and then they hired one guy. I'm not going to call his name because he's trying to do some positive things. And and I had to take Cal off of him because they hired him to be the face of a black person. He wasn't born in America. He had never, you know, he didn't know anything about what was going on. He just had what he heard. And we said, and Cal told him, you're not indigenous, therefore you don't really understand our plight.
Now I don't like that either. When white people in politics will go out and get an African because they don't want to deal with a black person with chains, that just cracks me up. They're going, "Is there an African in the room?"
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of talking to this guy from Mississippi or this guy from Chicago. I'm tired of talking to black folks with chains. I got to get a black folk from another country. Because the black folks from another country, God bless them. I like them. They're friends and stuff. But they don't have the same type of...
They don't have any idea.
Chains.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They look at our suffering that we've gone through and go, well, you know, in Angola. You know, and I'm like, nobody in Angola has did anything to us. You know, I'm not saying Angola is not a bad place, you know, but that's not the United States.
But you do agree the fact that we've got to be more responsible too.
That's it.
We got to get involved. We can't criticize. In all due respect, I see what you're saying, but you got to quit criticizing. What are you going to do? Are you going to run for office?
Yeah, I'm going to run again one day.
No. Are you going to run?
Huh? You talking about in 2020?
Yeah, are you going to run?
Thinking about it.
Thinking about.
I'm thinking about it
No,
hard.
you see, my point is that if you got
He wants an announcement.
I want something now. If you want to do something, do something. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a firm
Bruce,
believer.
you know I'm going to do something, but hold on, not to interrupt
no,
you.
wait, no,
I want to tell you, I agree with you what you're saying about Cal Henry and everything. I'm a good man, by the way. But, you know, I understand what you guys are doing. You're telling people and saying, please get some black people in.
Right.
We don't do that enough. We'll vote for people that say they will do it. You get my meaning?
Right.
You're talking about one of the few times you guys call them out on the carpet.
Well, we called them out quite a few times.
But you know what I'm talking
I
about.
also told them when I was chairing the Black Caucus, and they said to me, well, we expect you to talk to the black people, and I told them you're crazy. And they said, what? I said, I was talking to white folks. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said,
You're talking about assimilation now.
yeah. I said, this is about an issue, not about a race.
That's right.
I said, it's not about a color. It's not about anything. These people believe that we believe. Let's give them the information so they can succeed. I said, that's what we do to whites. Why can't we do that to blacks?
Well, thinking about this veteran again, we're still talking about veterans. You know, we're talking about Joanne Hardesty aspect of it, she's city council aspect of it, and all due respect, we got 2 black newspapers, and then we got Martin Luther King Day coming up. I would like to see, and in fact, in all four, the top venues, if you will, for Dr. King's Day. We got one with Ken Berry and his group, and then we got Bernie Foster aspect of it. As far as I'm concerned, Joanne Bowman should be one of the keynote speakers. She should be there to talk to their respective groups.
But
one
not
of the
only
business community, and I'm just saying.
Not only Joanne, they should bring some other black people with some knowledge of what's going on.
I understand that,
out there
but again, we're talking about veterans.
I know,
we're talking about veterans and veterans. See, so since she is a veteran, and you've got all these business folks gonna be sitting down there on that, and Bernie's done a good job in getting those folks down there.
Right.
See, and I'm just saying, bringing a guy from Seattle to talk to Portland issues. I had some problems with that piece, but that's okay. That's his thing. But now I'm saying, hey, we got this woman, and Joanne is a very assertive kind of a person. Let us speak to that group.
Right.
Because they're asking the question. They're calling Fred up. They're calling me up. Well, who is she, Bruce? Who is Joanne Hardesty? Is she just an activist? And all the media painted her in a very situation. Let us speak before those group. Right. And the same thing, and I'd hope that Ken Barrett, because he's kind of like who runs him and Grice and guys like
Michael Grice.
She should speak before that group. Now, she's not on the agenda right now. She's not on the agenda on either one of those media papers. And you can rest assured the majority community do get a copy of that piece to look and see what are black people doing for black people. It's called a black newspaper.
Right.
They want to know, what are you doing? So I'm just throwing that out to the table. Well, I don't know what you guys think about that.
I agree with you.
No,
I mean,
agree.
if we don't push our own, who
else going to push it?
That's right.
You got my point. When Harry got on the Portland Police Department and his brother and whatever, and I still remember those days. Burner Plummer, and I was there. And we were pushing it. We were lobbying like a son of a gun. And it was Smitty, it was Captain Smith who kind of led the charge, but we were lobbying him. And as a result of that, the Warrens got involved, and you got more black folks then and Harry. Bottom line, and look at it today.
Yeah, I mean, I met Harry a long time ago because when I was in college, Faye, Gloria's sister, used to feed us. I lived next door to her. She used to feed us, and I met him. And then she told me who he was. And then when the shooting took place down on Fremont, it used to be an Asian-run store there on the corner.
Yeah.
And they shot this brother there. I was trying to get the community to picket the place. And I met you there. That's when I really met him. And so, I mean, and from that I learned things. In talking to him, I learned a lot about the community, about what to expect from the community. I also learned a lot of things by being active in the community, that people will talk a good game, but they're not going to act. And you'll look around and you're alone.
But again, I get back to the recruiting piece, and and when I think about him and whatever, he got on the force and he didn't stop there. He brought people on.
Right.
He brought his own son in there. He brought his sister, and he advertised to people.
But not just that, he was a good representative in inner Northeast Portland.
He did positive. I thought he did a lot of positive.
I'm talking about seeing some black faces on the police department. Don't get me wrong. He might have. He's just a one-person person, but he needs some help too along that particular line. Okay, look like we're at that point in time. We got to give it
Time's
up.
gone
More
already?
times have passed. But again, thank you very much. Enjoy your Martin Luther King Day, and again, appreciate it. And identify with a vet. Again, tell that person thanks for serving.
Help a vet that's under the bridge.
That's right. Sounds good. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.